Hey, Sean. Thanks for being on time today.
I was here before you this week, and
he was early.
I was on time.
A lot earlier than I was.
For context for you, I was very late to our podcast last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with last week with Zach, which go check that out. Great guest.
Yeah, great
I
guest.
spent an hour just one-on-one with Zach talking,
and I carry the equipment, so it was like they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but it was cool because he was a cool guy. It would have been weird if it was like a guy who wasn't so personable.
Yeah,
and I'm just hanging out in his apartment, being like, my podcasting co-host will get here eventually.
See, now,
don't worry.
In hindsight, I wish I just never showed up. Like,
that would have been
I just was like, I'm not gonna come.
You just quit the podcast. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
That would be something I would do. Just just leave you high and dry. But that's because you're listening to
Two Mic Minimum.
We do this
all the time.
Do people know that you do like a hand gesture?
They kind of
know.
They don't know.
We did it on we did a Skype episode, which was actually recorded our faces, so they got to see it that time.
But every other time, we just have to verbally describe what we're doing to people.
Yes, which again, it's double finger touching each other.
We finger each other.
Yeah,
just
the tips.
Yeah, you can confirm.
Yeah. And they held it for a while too.
We did. We held it.
Like it just recently stopped happening.
Like an awkwardly long amount of time.
Yeah. But anyway,
we're joined today by
our guest. He's won the Madison's Funniest Comic Contest in 2012, and he was the runner-up in Laughfest's Best of the Midwest in 2014. He now lives here and performs in New York City. Bryan Morris, thank you for being on.
We should really add in like an applause effect when we introduce people into later in the episodes.
We should add like a very like a half an applause, like not like a full theater, just like a few little, like.
Yeah. So I guess the excitement level up for the the podcast.
But thank you for being on, Bryan.
Thanks for coming to my apartment.
Yeah. No problem. Yes, you let two strangers into your apartment.
Your apartment is a cat haven. I'm looking at all this right now. Like,
I have 3 cat trees.
3 cat trees, which are
for one cat.
Yeah,
for one cat.
It's a lucky little guy.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to realize how awesome that is.
Yeah.
He just plays with one cardboard box, and that's it. Like that's like the more interesting thing.
That's his thing.
Yeah, he plays with all of them, so we can't get rid of one of them because he does different things with each one. You know, that one's really tall. That one's got a hollow in it. People don't care on the podcast.
No, they do.
No, they. I mean, I feel like a lot of comedians are cat people. So
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Do you have cats?
I have a cat.
So we all have cats.
We're all cats.
We're all cat.
We should have brought them.
Should have brought them.
You know, cats love to go to new places and meet new cats. That's like their favorite thing.
Small locations.
Small, tiny locations.
One of my 3 cat trees. I mean, that's something.
I don't know. My cat's like an outdoor cat.
Okay.
So he does not like anything.
No.
I haven't taken him to the vet in years because he's just like, no, I'm not going. Like I try to get him in the cage and he's fights it so hard. I'm like, all right, fine. You're fine. It's fine. Okay. It's literally just like, all right, we'll deal with this later.
My cat loves it. It's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Loves going to the vet.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. I don't know.
Very unusual. Very lucky for you, because every cat is always in like the little cage, like.
Yeah, they're meowing and it breaks your heart.
They just don't know because it's terrifying. It's just like, I'm going to shove you into a tiny container and then we're going to go into the car, which is not good for cats.
Yeah.
I think they get like a little treat paste within there. I think he's just like, I love that treat paste.
Yeah, well-behaved cat.
Like when you used to get medicine, they used to be like cherry flavored. It was like, let's go sound right.
Yeah.
Right, but so Bryan, how long have you been doing comedy for? Because you've been doing it for quite a while, right?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years. Mm-hmm. 8 or 9 years, but I say 9 years.
Right.
But it's complicated because I did improv for a long time, and that's not stand up. But like, I feel like when I started stand up, it was like I wasn't from zero as far as
it's all in the comedy family. Like you improv, you're still learning how to be on stage.
Yeah.
You know,
look, every number a comedian gets is bullshit a little bit. You know, it's like there's no
you
good.
inflate your numbers and like you lie.
Or sometimes
it's
it's better.
Like number of people you have sex with, you always lie a little bit.
Or sometimes it's better to just say I haven't been doing it for that long.
Yeah.
Depending on how you feel your level is, because it's such a weird thing. I always hate the question. I mean, I know I asked it, but I always hate the question.
I always just say you can check out my Netflix special next month, or it's coming out soon.
Yeah.
That's I don't know when the scheduling's weird.
Yeah. But you started off in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which, do you know where Madison is, Sean?
Yeah, I know. It's in Wisconsin. You literally said it.
Where in Wisconsin is it?
Did you name where it is in Wisconsin?
It's like right in the middle. I believe.
That's descriptive.
That's not right, but also
Yeah, I watch football games. I understand. You see, I'm more worldly than you. You can't ask those questions.
I know U.S. geography decently.
This is a fight I didn't expect.
No,
We fight a lot on this
do fight a
podcast.
lot. It's
Yeah.
mainly
Yeah.
what it's. I guess it's why people listen.
I don't know why
It's
people.
not the guests.
It's real. It is sometimes the guest. The guest, it's like the guest is usually like the moderator between us, without us telling them ahead of time.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're probably gonna bicker like an old married couple.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea. I should do that with my girlfriend. Like, if we need therapy, we'll just like go to like have podcasts.
Just go to,
It's really
go to
just-
somebody's podcast and just
Or not
like,
just have guests on and just like, what would you do?
yeah. That actually isn't a bad idea for a
Well,
podcast.
that's what Erin wanted to do with me. Which maybe that won't happen anymore because she's doing another podcast. But Erin wanted to do a podcast where the premise was we'd take comedians who had beef with each other, and then we'd just lay that beef on the table during a podcast, and we'd be the moderators. And I was like, that's not a terrible idea. You just had
It's a lot
to
of
find.
work. You have to find consistently comedians beefing who are also willing to talk about it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Actually, the second part I don't think is that hard because
Everyone hates each other. But anyway, you start off in Madison, Wisconsin, which is an interesting place for comedy, you'd say, just in terms of the whole perspective of comedy existing mostly in the big cities, which is why it's great we have you on, so to talk about that scene a little bit. So tell us a little bit about comedy in Madison. What's it?
Madison is interesting because it's it's not a small city. It's not New York or Chicago, but it's the capital. So there's people, and there's a college town. So there's people there, but it's got one of the best clubs in the country. It's a comedy club on State. It's fantastic. It's an amazing club. A ton of people record their albums there.
I've definitely heard people talk about it before.
It's honestly magical. It's like, it's nonsense. Like, they have a mic there that it's not crazy for the mic to have 100 people at it. And that's just the mic that's on a Wednesday.
100 people signed
to
up
watch
for
the mic.
Wow.
Because we've heard of mics where 100 people have signed up.
Yeah, but that's just to watch. Like, there's
That's
definitely
cool.
comics, but there's also just like, who are these people that it's $2 to get in? So people pay money to come watch the mic. So it's an
Wow.
amazing place to get stage time because there's other mics, but that's just a show. It's just a show you can do every Wednesday.
Right. How many people sign up for the mic?
Yeah,
normally?
I mean, it's pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be totally wrong, but like 50, 60 people probably sign up for it. Maybe 30 on like a really slow night.
How did the signups work for that though? Is it just first come first serve? Or is it a lottery or?
It's somebody makes a decision about who goes on the show. If it's your first time signing up, they definitely try to get you on. If you've been cut, you can keep track. If you've been cut for 3 times, they try to get you on. But they also just sort of like say like, who do we like in the town that's good that can make the show good? So like they'll kind of put people on that are good and then sandwich in between them people who they don't know about or are new, but they want the show to be good, which is probably why people go.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a
well-run open mic,
I was
which
just trying
is
to, like,
very
I
rare.
was trying to think of another word for it, but yeah, that's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I was saying, like you said, like 30 would sign up. Is it like a kind of a small community of comics too? Because like you guys all kind of know each other there too, or is
Yes and no, because but then because this mic is so good, like people come from all over to the mic. Like we're not too far from Minneapolis, we're not far from Chicago, we're not far from Milwaukee. So a ton of people come in just for the mic. So then it's like 30 locals and then 15, 20 people from elsewhere. That might be high for 20 from elsewhere, but it has been that.
That's cool. Though.
How much time does everyone get? Like 5 or is
It's
it?
between 3 and like 2 people get like 7 or 10 depending.
Yeah, that makes sense when you're just kind of
Right.
banging people out. But I guess it's interesting because I've a couple like the Creed and the Cave. I've been trying to do more, and they only give you 3 minutes there, and I find I actually kind of like that because it forces you to just cut out the bullshit. I think a little bit.
Well, also if someone sucks, they can get off stage.
That helps
very
too.
quickly, which is good for the mic. They're not just up there.
That is nice.
Which is, I've been to mics where the opposite is true, where it's just like, oh, well, there's only 10 people here. We're not going to time anyone. And you see people eat it for 20 minutes. And I'm like, why are you? It's astounding how long people will go without any constraints.
Yeah, people like
That's crazy.
People like to talk.
That's crazy. But what else about the club makes it so magical? Because
Well, I mean, the crowds there are fantastic too because you have this like mix of there's a college there, so there's like smart fucking people in this town. It's also like number one. I don't know anymore if it is, but it was a couple of years ago. It was like number one party school.
I remember
so you
that.
have
Yeah,
all
Playboy.
of these drunk idiots too. And when you put them both in this room, like whatever type of joke you do is going to hit with those people. Like if it's smart, they'll get it. If it's stupid, they'll also think it's funny.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun room.
So they're like, it's a college crowd, but it's not annoying. They're still a good audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's
too.
bad shows there too, but I mean,
right.
but
And
that's
there's bad
everywhere.
shows everywhere.
Yeah.
So, wow,
it's pretty fantastic. I don't know. The club is also great. They have, I don't know. It's a pleasure to do even the mic there.
Right, that's cool.
But yeah, because of that, the scene is like got this mecca of comedy that really inspires a lot of people to be like, oh, here's something to like go for. Like I could try to get time on this mic, and if you do well on the mic, sometimes they'll put you, they'll like groom people to be hosting on the weekends, and then you can maybe feature that. I mean, that's how I got my start. Was
I was about to
through
follow
the club.
Is that like you just saw the club and you're like, I can finally give it a try, or is it something you always wanted to get into?
Well, I
too?
wanted to always do it, but the club was the perfect avenue to do it.
Yeah, so it kind of just inspired. Then you just started going there consistently.
Yeah.
But how long would you say before like you kind of started becoming like a guy there? You know, a little bit like people are like, oh, you know, I recognize Bryan. You know, so many people. Like, how hard is it to stand out? I guess.
I mean, if you're good, you can stand out. There's a lot of good people there because I feel like I'm going to just be talking a lot. I'm sorry.
No,
I guess
you're the guest. It's bad when he and I are talking a lot. Like,
there's a lot of good people in the scene because there's this club that people consistently can go to and see good comedy. So like they see like that's how to do it. Like, you know, I feel like a lot of people just go to mics, especially in smaller towns. They go to like all these mics and they're just watching bad people do bad comedy, and so they don't see good examples of it like live.
Right.
But in Madison, you see it constantly. So I think that you just have all these people in the scene who have gotten like really, really, or get really, really, really good.
That's cool. So it like really has fostered this environment where the audience can put their trust that no matter where they go or what kind of show they see in Madison, it's always going to be a good time.
Yeah,
because that's very cool. Because I don't think many scenes or cities could even say that.
well, yeah, like a lot of clubs can't even say that. You
No,
know? Like,
exactly.
Like I think that's the gym though. It's like it's a place where people know about. Where like you're probably gonna have a good time every time you go there, and that fosters a good comedy community, which I think is like that's what every good owner / comedian should want at the end of the day. Is like this is the place to go to, and then you can just go up and kill your time.
Right. Any other cool spots in Madison?
Yeah,
Like,
so, I mean,
I imagine if that fills up, you know, something starts to trickle out.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't another club because good luck competing with that club.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
fantastic. But there is a bunch of other mics there. I don't know if that's specifically what you're asking about.
Both work, yeah.
There's not any. There are some like independent shows there, but it's not a. I mean, there are some. There's a bunch, but like the club is just so much better than everything around it that people go. There are small shows, but I can't think of any consistent ones going on right now. But there probably is. I haven't lived there in like 4 years, so I don't
Have you
know.
visited at all?
Yeah, I visited.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I usually go to say I hang out with my mom and my dad.
I perform jokes in front of them.
Yeah.
I'll like work the club and see them, and then I don't have time to do other stuff.
I don't think it'd be like my mom and dad live here too. That's right. That's why I came back.
Did you want to ask about mic? There are a bunch of mics in that city. Is that,
no,
Yeah.
I was just seeing if you had another question. Like,
No. Tell us about the mics.
We're bad interviewers. I'll talk too
No,
much,
we're
or
not
he'll
bad
talk too much.
interviewers.
You're fighting over whether or not you're bad interviewer?
No, we're
this
not.
is-
This is a fine podcast.
Wow,
This is
your
fine.
voice went up so high right there. Like, it's a fine podcast.
No, it's a fine podcast,
Telltale
and I'll
sign.
edit out. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
He dubs over his
There's-
own voice to make it sound more manly.
There's a lot of
right?
things
So-
I
Wow.
say I'll edit out, and then I never edit it out.
Your voice is an interesting one.
Yeah.
My voice? Thank you.
No, I meant the idea of editing out your voice is
Yeah.
an interesting option.
Oh.
It's just putting in a different other things to say it.
I'm just going to edit myself out of this
Yeah.
podcast. It's just going to be Sean asking questions and a
then
voice
just-
in the back
and then-
going, so what did you say? Who's that? Who's
Yeah.
that? Peter was sick today. I don't know. It wasn't,
Yeah,
it wasn't
I
that
don't
guy.
know what's going
but
on
yeah,
with
no,
him.
tell us about the mics there if there's anything.
So yeah, there was when I was last. I think there's a mic every night of the week, but there's a couple ones that like really stand out. There was one called the Argus, which was like run as long as I'd been there. That is where like local guys would go to watch local guys, not at the club. That was a fantastic mic. It was like a little room and like a little cave in the bottom of this like little bar. That was awesome. I don't know what else to say about the mics. I don't know why I brought them up. There's mics. But a lot of people go, and there are a lot of local guys. Like I was saying earlier, they get really good in that scene. I think that's most scenes, right? You get some like big fish, but
Big fish, small pond, and then they start. They leave the pond eventually, right? That's how it is. I mean, some people don't. Like, I guess, but you said like all these other cities are pretty close by. Would it be like something you guys would be like, all right, well, Mr. That's we're gonna go to Chicago next week and do that, or?
Yeah, people did that. Yeah, and I did that too. But I mean, you didn't want to miss a Wednesday just because you're like, that club is such a good, and it's right here. But yeah, people would go to other places. Milwaukee had a pretty good comedy scene. They had 2 comedy clubs there, but yeah, I don't know. One was below a strip club. That was so weird.
I don't know. It's probably good clientele. Like, I'm very horny for comedy. You know,
I feel like it's a lot of sad people who just had sex or got a hand job and have to kill an hour.
Yeah, you're like, I paid for the full hour. All right, well, this is what we got here.
That doesn't faze me. Like, it's
Now, how far away? You said all the other places are kind of nearby. People will come to. How far away is it from like Chicago?
Chicago's 3-hour drive.
Okay, that's not that bad because when we were in San Antonio, they said, "Oh yeah, we just drive to Houston sometimes." That's an 8-hour drive from there, and I'm like, "That's not a quick drive."
No,
3 hours. That makes sense.
yeah.
Milwaukee's about 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours away, and there's a bunch of there's a lot of independent comedy there. And then Minneapolis, who also has an amazing club called Acme Comedy Club, which is
I've heard of that one too.
very similar to Madison, different, but like as far as the vibe, it's like they're fostering a community of like a great mic there too. That's only 4 hours away, so I mean, there's plenty of opportunity to do comedy at other places there that are good.
So at Comedy Club on State, are there, besides the mic, like what kind of shows are done there? Is it normal straight stand-up shows? Do they do any sort of alt shows? Are there showcases?
No, I mean it's mainly just regular like 3-person stand-up host, feature, headliner. But they do other stuff. On Thursdays, they do a kind of a showcase. They have a host who generally is someone they're vetting to see if they can host the weekend. So they don't get paid for it. Maybe they do now, but they didn't. They get to host one night, and there'll be 2 or 3 guest sets that are generally local guys they're also giving a shot to, or people from surrounding cities that have shown that they're good at the mic, they want to give a chance to. And they'll have those 3 people showcase, and then they'll do the feature and the headliner. But then the rest is normal. But they don't do like a lot of indie shows there that I'm aware of anyway.
So in Madison itself, like how often can you get up? Is it like how many mics
You
are
said
there?
the Wednesday mic, but like say like here obviously you can do like 3 mics in a night.
You can't do that. You can do a mic a night there. There might be it's possible to do 2 mics a night, but you're probably not gonna. You have to get up real early, and then you got to travel to the other mic. But yeah, it's usually just once a night.
It's cool though, but I kind of like that it's all kind of centralized. Because here it gets so big sometimes. You're like, fuck, do I go to there, and then you're sometimes you're like, I went to the wrong fucking mic because this one sucks, and the other one might have been good. Yeah. So it's kind of nice that way.
Mm-hmm. And so how you moved to New York City 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
How has your transition to New York City been since after performing in Madison for so long?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, at first it sucked. You're just like, Yeah, I came from a mic that I would get up every Wednesday, and it was like a free show that was just like great audience. You could test your material. And then here you're like, you wait for an hour, 2 hours to do 2 minutes in front of people who do not care at all. You know, like they're mad that you're on stage, that you're not, that they're not you. And so like that was sucked to go from consistently having a wall to bounce stuff off of to like having something like, I don't know, that mic I feel like it's not even really worth it when you're just no one's there paying attention to you.
Right. No, I mean, you got to find the right ones because
the old of why am I even doing this, Mike? Like, just like, oh, good, everyone left, and it's just the host, and
Well, yeah, some of them are a waste of time. I mean, most of them are a waste of time, but it's like you really have to sift through and find the ones that are good for the time being, and then they become shitty eventually because it's so fickle.
Yeah, you know what it is? These mics get hot here. Like people are like, the pit on Tuesdays is great. Everyone goes there, and then they're like, oh, everyone's here now. Then they leave, and it just becomes this weird cycle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, where are you now in terms of your comedy journey in New York City? Are you getting on doing a lot of shows now, or are you doing mics still?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of mics. I do shows too. I travel a lot, so I don't know. When I come back, I don't really want to do 3 mics a night, so that's not really my thing. But yeah, I mean, I do shows here. I'm not past at any of the clubs. I tried to get past at the comic strip, and
Same.
Listen, I've had a lot of bad sets in my life, and I'm ready to tell you all about them. But I had a great set that night. Like, it was great. And everyone else, like, was not doing well. And he literally was, like, asleep in the back during my set. And then afterwards, I was like, oh, hey. And he was like, I don't have any room for you. I'm like, could you at least have been awake during my set and then said that? Like,
see, the trick has been, and Zach was he was messaging me about this, like all his friends who've been passed to the comic strip, they were passed because they were auditioning in front of James.
Yeah, that seems to be the.
And I auditioned in front of James, and I passed
Yeah,
because
and I auditioned in front of Richie, and I did not get passed.
He was asleep in the back. That's
Oh,
not
he
even
did
an
not.
exaggeration.
Exactly.
Like, you're not here.
Because there was over 70 people in the show, and honestly, every comic went up. We all fucking killed.
Yeah.
Everyone did great. And the first guy who went up, he's the only one that got passed. And I swear to God, I think it's just because he was the first one up.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
because it's
I
easier.
mean, he's also very funny. Shout out to Chris Barnes, but like, still,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's easier for him to say than for him to say I'm old and can't hear anymore.
yeah,
Is there anything else you wanted to say on that question?
What was it about?
It was just about
where-
like what
Just the
have you been
What's the
doing?
difference between New York and Madison?
No, it was what have you been?
Well, I do a lot of college stuff, so I'm like, I don't. That's not really relevant, I think, but like I feel
Actually,
like
no,
we can get into that too.
Yeah, it's more comedy in general. This is kind of the broad strokes to see where it takes us. you know?
okay.
But no, you keep going on that thought. I'm sorry
That,
to
that
interrupt
just
you.
well, yeah. So I got lucky and I got into the first NAC I applied to, and that it went really well. And so I've been doing colleges for a couple of years since then, and that's kind of so much. It's like a great mic almost. Like you can throw jokes in the middle, and like if you're doing well beforehand, it'll be like you have a real audience. You can do jokes in front of. So it's hard to do that or do like an hour, and then we wait at a mic to do 3 minutes after you just did an hour. You know what I mean? You're just like, cool. Yeah, here's 3 jokes I could have.
I could've
Here's
just
3
thrown
jokes
in there.
for
Yeah.
no money.
Yeah, for no money.
No money, and people just disinterested and be like,
Yeah.
on their phone.
I mean, college kids can be that way too.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, that's a good springboard here. Like, how'd you get into NACA and all that?
Well, I just applied to one and I got in. That's the whole story. That's the whole
there was
story.
no audition. Like, you got in, like, in an audition, you got booked from there, or is it?
Yeah, well, you send a tape. You get in. I have an agent that set it in for me, and they liked it. They selected me to come perform. So that doesn't mean anything other than I go to this conference and then I get on stage, like during a showcase, do a set, and then they can you see that set and be like, yeah, let's book that guy. And so it's good because there's only so many people that are right in front of them that they can remember and be like, I liked that guy, or that woman, let's bring them back to our college. They can at NACA pick any comic from like a Rolodex, but I think they're going to probably, if you do well, they're going to remember you. And I did well, and so I booked a bunch of colleges from that.
That's pretty cool.
How many colleges do you do a year?
I mean, it really varies. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It varies every year. Like this year, I've done like 3, I think. So, but I did more last year, but I'm also older than I used to be, so cut all of that.
Yeah.
So
no,
I can't
we'll
go to
your
the parties afterwards.
Yeah, you can't be like, hey, where's the best place to smoke some pot?
It is weird. Like I don't want to talk to them after the show just because I don't want some weird interaction to happen. Like this girl came up to me after a show and she was just like, I'm there with my girlfriend. She happened to be with me on this.
Yeah.
And we're talking and she comes up and she's like, what are you guys doing after this? I'm like, oh, we're not doing that much. And then she's just like, well, I think I'm just going to go home and be bored. And then she just waits. And it's like, I'll just be by myself. I've got nothing to do. I was like, are you kidding? Like, this is so weird right now.
We got to get booked to colleges.
I mean, yeah, we're still young.
Actually, I do have a college show coming up, so.
Oh, cool.
Actually, a frat show, but it's
Yeah.
same thing, I guess.
Yeah, go crash the frat party.
Yeah,
you
that's
just gotta bring.
That's probably what I'm gonna do. Honestly, like, all right, guys, where we drinking after this? Like, we don't want to hang out with you, old guy.
Yeah.
So if you want to see Sean perform at Pace, you either have to be a hot girl or be a guy with 5 hot girls, and then you can get into the show.
Yeah, chicks drink free.
Yeah, pretty much.
So how are they making money on the show if it's all women drinking for free? That one guy?
Just, dude.
Just the one guy pays for.
Just
he
horny
pays
dudes.
$1,000.
I like the idea that you're paying for all of it
Yeah.
to like get laid.
Yeah,
It's just horny dudes.
aren't we always?
Yeah, well.
Fuck, I had a thought. I'm hungover, by the way, to everybody. I'm just gonna let it in on that. That's why my brain's not functioning at 100%.
Great
I'm on
for
a
this
2-day.
interview.
I got hungover on Halloween. I got hungover today, and now I'm here.
Wait, what happened? Halloween was 2 days ago, so what happened?
Yeah, I was hungover. I meant to say hungover yesterday from Halloween.
I got it.
Now I'm hungover today. I went out again last night.
Oh.
And I'm going out tonight like an idiot. So I'm gonna be hungover tomorrow morning.
Well, have fun, man.
Yeah.
How old are you? Like,
25.
Yeah, you're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're gonna be fine.
You know, it's just like I can feel it on my knees now. I'm like, oh, these bad boys are getting some rust.
From like falling, or
I just walking a lot. I'm out of shape. This is just. I don't know. I'm fat.
you might just need different shoes.
That might be it too, man. Oh,
Yeah,
these
I
are
got
pretty
new
nice.
shoes. That really helped my knees.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm old. Have we established that theme now?
Yeah. Just getting back to Madison real quick. I was actually curious if if anything you've noticed, if there's like a difference between the kind of audiences you get in New York compared to the audiences you get in Madison.
100%.
Yeah.
The audiences in Madison are great, and if you win their trust during a set, you can kind of talk about whatever you want. But like, definitely here, there's just things you can talk about, like race, for instance, or religion, so much more easier, and the audience is like ready to at least hear you out before they like pull back.
Yeah.
And in Madison, I feel like people would pull back. Again, if you win their trust, they'll be with you. They're like, all right, I don't know, this could be scary, but I believe him. But here, I feel like you could be like, listen about this, and like people will at least give you a shot before they tune you out. Might be wrong. That's my experience, though.
So it's tougher here. Tougher to like gain that trust is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that the audience will not immediately pull back from you talking about something controversial, for instance.
I got you. Yeah, here in New York.
Here in New York, yeah. Even though they'll be like, "Oh, that was horrible," and they'll tweet about it here in New York.
Sure. Well, they do that in Madison too. So.
Yeah.
Have you noticed a difference between the kinds of like comics and the kinds of material people do here compared to back where you were from?
No, I mean, because people back home, there was a lot of people trying different stuff. So
There's no one that's like, man, you guys know how we love cow tipping, right?
yeah. The material's it's very cow tipping centric. It's very
it's all about farmland.
agricultural focus.
Yeah,
in Madison.
90% of comedy in America is just about farmland.
Yeah.
Well, it is. The country's mainly farmland.
Probably. I mean, we're not geography
Has
experts.
a guy ever gone on stage in a Packers cheesehead?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Happen ever? Yeah.
yeah.
There's 20 of those on the mic sign up for this week right now.
Yeah.
Just and you were also you taught improv at Atlas Improv Company. Do you still teach or
no? I don't teach improv.
Okay.
I do. I don't. Yeah, I don't teach improv. I do sketch stuff now.
Right. I
but
forgot your
don't
bio
teach.
is old. So
Yeah. But I don't teach it. But I taught improv for several years in Madison. But when I came here, like, I could take a bunch of classes at like UCB or Magnet, and then like prove that I could teach it, and then. But it's just like such a long process. I'm not doing that again. Like I taught for years. I don't need to be like, no, I can teach. Listen, I'm done.
Yeah, you're like, I don't need to help anybody else.
Also, there's nothing worse. Honestly, there's no worse feeling than being like hungover and like teaching an improv class. It's so fucking like honestly, you're just like, oh yeah, God, fuck. I'm gonna pretend everything's funny. It's not. It's not funny at all.
Yeah, pretending something's funny while you're hungover is not.
No, and then in an improv environment, like the hoops you have to jump to make something seem funny, like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
so.
and.
Right, but
like I love improv, man. I love it. I think it could be great, but when you're teaching a level 1 improv class, you want to blow your brains out. Like it's
just bad improv is bad. Real
so bad. And there's people that think they're so good and they've done it twice and they're like, oh, I'm awesome. Like, no, you're racist. Like, your characters are super racist.
Hey, you guys know Pooh from the Quickie Mart?
I'm a professional level 1 improviser, okay?
Listen, I've taken a few 0 free classes on Tuesdays. I know what I'm talking about.
I know what I'm doing, yes. But please book me on Friday nights. So you definitely, I'm assuming you love stand-up a lot more than improv then.
Yeah, I mean, I do like improv. Like I see good improv, and a lot of people hate it. I don't. I'm ready to acknowledge that the worst thing to ever watch would be a bad improv show. But I like both. I like stand up because I can do it by myself, and I don't have to like foster a community. I can travel with stand up.
My brother has a show tonight. He sells a magazine. He had to rent out a space and like buy all this like shit to sell and like he's doing like a whole party thing. It costs him like $5,000 to do. And that's what I like about being a stand-up comedian artist is like I kind of just show up, and then we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. So much easier.
The mics don't need to work. I can still do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No stage, no one's there. I'll still do it.
Yeah, you're gonna need a stool though soon with your knees though.
Oh yeah, eventually. Like, well, we're gonna work to that point.
But in improv, you need it.
That's why I wanted Andrew Yang, the comedian's president, because $1,000 a month goes a long way for open mics.
Yeah.
Pulling high among comedians.
Pulling high.
Way ahead of Biden and Warren.
Yeah.
According to the comedians poll, the Gallup comedians poll.
Yeah.
I like stand up so much, but I will say being in an improv scene with other people who are very talented and like the scene is firing on all cylinders, nothing to me is more fun than that. It's just like,
Oh yeah.
just like when you're improvising in a stand-up set, I feel like that's to you is the funniest. You feel funny in the moment. Like I just thought of this. It was funny. You know, it's not like, I wrote this a year ago and it's fucking, I've honed it.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Russell, our previous guest, said, which I agree with completely, is that like good improvisers are what stand-ups wish they could be.
Yeah, sure.
Which is like very much true. As much as stand-ups like shit on improvisers, and,
Yeah.
those people should go kill themselves.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, some of them.
Sure. I mean, some of them. Like,
no, I just hate this like whole like. Look, every group of artists is equally terrible.
You know what it is?
They're all equally terrible.
you know, as I just picture, the one improviser kid. He's like Peter's heights, but glasses, like white guy, like not Peter. I'm not. He's just but like a little Peter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Peter
I feel
with
like
glasses,
I have,
okay.
Yeah, Peter with horn-rimmed glasses.
Yeah.
I feel like I have
You know-
that. Like, hello, I'm your instructor for this evening. Like one of
It's
those
the
looks.
guy who's like, all women are great, and he's only just saying that to try and fuck all the women in the
Yeah.
improv group. That guy. I've known many of those guys.
There's a lot of them in comedy.
are a lot of them.
in comedy. Is there anything unique about like the improv scene in Madison? Because I know you've been ingrained in that for a long time.
Yeah, it's got a great scene there because there used to be a Comedy Sports there years and years ago. You guys know Comedy Sports? It's like competitive improv. And then there's just these local guys got really, really good at it, and they didn't want to do the stupid Comedy Sports stuff, and they wanted to do actual improv. And so they just like broke off from Comedy Sports and started a theater. And I saw that theater pretty early. When I say theater, it was just they were doing a show at a
Bar.
yeah, it was like a cafe. But I saw it, and they were good, and I got involved in that. And eventually, we bought a little space and renovated it to be like a little black box theater. And we had a pretty good following. People that would come out to our shows. We do 2 shows we do 4 shows every weekend, 2 every Friday, 2 every Saturday, and we'd have audiences for all those shows. So, I mean, it was pretty fantastic.
That's nice. I was like, how do you like promote shows like that? Because like, I actually got a text from somebody who's listening to the podcast. Like, you guys do a lot of promotion. Like how it is because we're all just like we are like teaching ourselves how to promote ourselves the whole time. So like, how does that just come to be?
For Madison, I have no idea how we promoted it. We did stuff. I don't know what happened that worked. We would poster the streets like once a week. We would like put posters out for improv on the streets in Madison, and so that brought people in. I know that brought people in, and we'd get write-ups in like local publications. But I mean, I don't know what else we did, man. We honestly have no idea what.
There's
we did.
only 2 things to do: watch the Packers and see comedy.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
And if you fit into one of those categories, you're gonna have an audience.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
So
guessing.
the biggest shows in Packers bye weeks, just like, there's no game this week. Let's go see some comedy.
Well, I don't know about that, but there was definitely whenever there was a really big game, or even just a game. But if there's like a big game, that was the only time the comedy club ever would have not like a full capacity.
Yeah,
be like,
of course.
there's only 100 people here for the show. Like, oh, it's the playoffs. Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
I think that's all my questions about like Madison.
Yeah, we can just keep talking. Just talk comedy.
I think, I actually wanted to like talk a little bit more about the colleges because I think you're the only guest we've gotten on so far that has done the NACA process.
Yeah.
You want to tell us like the worst show you did for a college?
Sure, man.
Yeah,
I remember.
there's so many good comedian stories I've heard about like this.
There's a couple. I mean, I've done so many, and I bless the hearts of all the people that put these shows together because, like, they do such a good job. There's occasionally someone that, like, one person does something very bad that kind of ruins it. Like one time, I was at a show, and it ended up being a great show. It was fantastic. No complaints about that. But right before I went on stage, this woman is like addressing the crowd. There's a ton of people there. It was great. But she goes, "Hey, next week, everybody, I'm so excited. Guess what? We're gonna have Mike Birbiglia," and they put up a giant like projection of Mike Birbiglia behind me with like the dates, and they're like, "Wow!" And then she goes, "But tonight we have," and then she pulls up a piece of paper, Bryan Morris, and they leave Mike up behind me for the first 5 minutes of my set.
You're performing in front of a projector, so the light's still
No,
like
it was like up here. So
It'd be funny just the image though of Mike Birbiglia's face on your face while you're doing it.
just like
That's so funny. Yeah, I remember. Do you guys know Jonah Ray?
No.
He came to my college though, and he's like, semi big, but he came during like finals week, and like we have like this place called the Pub, and he's just there, just like, all right, everybody, time for like, no one looks up, so everyone's studying and actually working hard. He's like, well, I'm glad I traveled 2,000 miles for this, and he just talked for 50 minutes straight with no one paying attention to it. I feel like that happens so often.
Yeah,
What was he talking about?
I wasn't paying attention.
I was studying. I had to pass this class.
Yeah, I think I left.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll be on that stage eventually doing the same thing.
The worst one I did though. Oh man, there's two. There's one I was outside. Okay, there was like all these stations kids could go to like make cotton candy. To like it was like a finals relaxation thing. They wanted to like pet puppies. It was all these things.
Right.
And there was also food, so people could eat and they could come sit in front of me while I perform. But this is all true. It's outside. The sun is like right behind me. So I could tell how many people were watching me literally because they all had to be doing this while they're watching me. It was just like, what were you thinking, guys?
Yeah.
Did you relax them for their finals?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because honestly, they had to hold their hand up, like the whole set. It was,
so you're not supposed to stare into the sun.
Hey, who here is worried about failing out of college?
Yeah. Anyone is looking at the sun behind me should be
you guys
here.
ever hate when you forget your sunglasses?
I failed out of college and did just fine. So that sounds brutal. Because I imagine, because like I was part of my stand-up club when I was at school.
Yeah.
And we had comedians. Actually, shout out to Jill Pizzuto, who's like the I forgot what her title is, but she's a person who like books like talent and stuff, and she's booked like really good people. She's booked Tig, she's booked a lot of SNL people, and but yeah, we usually when we book comics, we usually like kind of throw them into like the lecture halls to do like a show there, which honestly isn't a bad place to do a show because it's it's a staggered seating, and you can adjust the light, turn the lights down on the audience, and then like put the lights out on the comedians, and we get to open with them. And it's always been a cool time.
But I mean, that sounds like a good setup, and I've done that setup. But what a lot of times they're just like, it's like what you described. It's like they're in the middle of this like coffee shop / like cafeteria area,
like cafeteria,
where like maybe a band sometimes plays, and like, you're there. Like I've had it where they've had TVs on, and you're just like, cool. You can watch this or me while you eat.
Yeah,
that sucks. And I've also done a lot of really good ones that. When you never know if they're gonna be good till you get there, and then you're like, oh my god, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that feeling like, oh, this is why I do this. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, what's the ratio of like good to bad?
I mean, it's there's like a spectrum about good and bad. Like there's some that just aren't as great as other ones. I don't know. I mean, I would say 1 in every 8 is bad, maybe.
Right.
But that might be other people have different experiences. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was the last college you did?
Honestly, I don't even remember. It was like 3 months ago, or 2 months ago. I don't remember. I don't know.
That college must have sucked.
Don't say when this was recorded.
We'll
they also,
hide it.
unless they're like big, they just sort of blend together.
That's
honestly.
like small liberal arts colleges.
They just just like kind of blend together, and then I don't remember.
University of West this city.
Exactly.
Technical Institute. You're like, I didn't know this was a college.
I remember what it looks like, and actually, it wasn't a bad one. I don't remember fucking. I shouldn't say anything. This is going to sound bad, so I don't remember what it was, and it doesn't matter. We're filming this. Doesn't matter when this is being recorded.
Nope.
Right. This is going to get released in July 2022. So.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
We're really banking these podcasts.
We're all going to be dead by then, so it'll be fine.
We are set then.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Who's like some of you like comedians you like start out like watching? You're like, that guy's the fucking like. What made you want to get into it?
Some of the people I watched when I started out there was a guy. He's not local, but he lives in Chicago, so he'd travel. Kevin Bozeman, I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's fantastic, super funny guy. He brought me on the road a couple times when I first started, and he was just one of those guys that was just like, one of those guys. Anything he says is funny. It's kind of reminds me of like he's not like Sean Patton, but reminds me of Sean Patton. And it's just like any sentence he has is funny. Like it's just like that's just naturally funny. You didn't even have to write anything. You're just so funny. So he was like one of the guys I looked up to, even though very different styles of comedy. I don't know. I feel like I learned a lot just like watching him. A guy named Chad Daniels. He's out of he's not from Minneapolis, but he's in that area. That's I don't know if you know Chad Daniels. He's got one of the best Conan sets I've ever seen in my life. It's so funny. It's like perfect. I saw him a lot starting out, but like as far as like national people, I don't know. Roy Scovel, I've always think was fantastic. I don't know. Pete Holmes, I loved his first album so much. I remember just like laughing out loud while listening to it. Yeah, I don't know, a lot. I mean, I liked Louis C.K. Is that weird to say that I liked him at one point?
We all liked
Louis
Louis. It's fine.
Yeah.
Some of us liked him after. I didn't used to like him, but once I found out what he did, I really liked him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's
yeah. I guess you just need to specify when you started to like him.
Yeah. I hate the art, love the artist, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, yeah. It's a weird thing because it's hard not to when the guy is so big. Like, same with like Cosby in the 80s. The guy was fucking huge. It's hard, like, I was a huge fan of his and made me want to do it. And then, like, he raped 50 women. I was like, well, I didn't fucking know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad for having liked him. I liked him a lot.
Was it Dave Chappelle who said like about Bill Cosby, like he's a hero, but he's a hero who rapes?
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean,
that's true.
Cosby contributed a lot to society.
Yeah.
And just, through
Some
art
of it was trauma.
Some of it was trauma.
Some of it was trauma.
And some of it was good. And you just they're just both out there, you know?
Yeah. Is he still behind bars?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Is he behind bars?
Yeah.
Cosby?
Yeah.
I thought he got out scot-free. What?
No, you don't.
What?
He got fully convicted.
What? I thought he got
Yeah.
exonerated.
He like fell down in prison or something.
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
Oh,
but like,
wow.
I know. I think he got 3 years. I think
something like that. I don't know.
50 rapes.
I don't think.
Wait, when did he get into jail?
It was like that's why I was asking because I'm like time is just an illusion to me at this point.
Okay, I don't remember when it happened, but within the last 2 years, he went to prison.
Yeah,
Because I remember like seeing a video of him at like some bar doing a set.
that was like while he was being on trial.
That was on.
That was on trial. He was like went to bars and still tried to do stand up.
I think that was at the jail pub room. That's where it was.
Well, no, I also remember him like leaving the courtroom saying "Hey," because like
Yes, that was
no,
funny.
now you hallucinating.
and I thought it was.
No,
I
no,
thought
he
it was
did do that.
because
Wait,
I-
that happened.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, no, that happened.
Like
And-
day one of his trial, he's walking in
No.
and just hey. Which again, objectively funny, but not in that moment.
Wow.
Hey.
And I thought that was he did that because he was exonerated.
Do you
He
think?
just-
Do you think in prison he's telling
don't-
other prisoners to pull up their damn pants?
Yeah, probably.
What do you think? What a fucking piece of shit! Like, you ever hear the stories like how he treated Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck you fucking.
I mean, have I ever heard Eddie Murphy stand up when he talks about Bill Cosby?
Yeah.
this is a very radical. We're an anti-Bill Cosby podcast.
yeah, we're woke boys. you know?
We're woke boys.
That's the name of the podcast, right? Woke Boys.
I wish. No, it's just too my.
Yeah, I know.
That's his name now.
I remember. I
no,
saw the hand
not
signals.
anymore. I
Yeah.
changed it.
Oh, did
I'm
you?
no
What'd you
longer
change it to?
Westchester Woke Boy. It's just Peter Clark _Deutsch because
No.
I wanted to have like a fun Instagram handle, like I feel like a lot of people had, and then I did for a while, and then people told me it wasn't that great, so I changed it. Or I thought it was great. I think it was good. It was just very niche, and it kind of didn't really serve its purpose that well. So.
Yeah, it served as a joke we told one time on a podcast.
God, I remember episode 2. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I went back to episode 1 today, and I realized that. Remember when we talked about that misogynistic asshole comic who like a girl rejected him, so he sent her like 50 texts telling her how ugly she is and that she's a slut.
Oh, I do remember that.
And
yeah.
that was from Boston. And I was like thinking, like, man, we've come so far. We interviewed a comedian from Boston.
You interviewed that guy?
No,
I mean,
another
it's funny,
comedian.
that'd be
But
funny.
I was like,
it'd be funny if that was Zach and we didn't know it. It was just, I'm not gonna do any real research for this podcast.
this podcast. It's funny. We don't we don't do a lot of screening for a lot of people.
We really don't. We
So,
should. We should.
Yeah. So what have you done?
Now, in my life, not much.
Yeah, we're into the crime confession portion of the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
No,
yeah.
I'll
a lot
edit
of
out
things.
everything. I love
so
editing
many things.
stuff
You have no
out.
idea.
I did see a turd on the street as I was walking in. And I'm like,
That was me.
that was you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was me. I can tell you now.
All right. That's fine. I'm just like, well, it's a nice turd.
I love that you just saw a turd and you're like, that seems like Brian's.
Well, it
Never
was just
met
like
him,
this, never. Yeah, I can assume.
I've seen us stand up, and that seems like the kind of turd he would have.
Yeah, it's just it was healthy. It was
Yeah.
a good size.
Yeah.
but it wasn't atrocious. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's Brian.
You want to get into a little bit how you start off in stand up? Like, what were your first
Sure.
sets like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember I was doing improv, even before improv. I think I was very young. I was like, I'm going to do stand up. And,
As we all are.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna do stand up.
I did it, and I'm trying to remember where it was at this like open mic at a college, and it was like an all-purpose open mic. People were doing music and all kinds of stuff. And I went on last, and I got a couple chuckles. Like, it wasn't good, but like I got a couple. It was a bad set for sure, but I got a couple chuckles. So I was like, okay. And then I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. I could never write jokes again. That was lucky. And then I did improv for a couple years, and then one day I decided to like just try it again because I don't know. I like to do performing stuff that was scary and that was like terrifying to me. So I did it, and it was it went well. Everyone's first set generally goes well, right? At least in their eyes, it does.
Yes.
You know what? I used to think that, and then I saw a bunch of people do it for the first time, like to like I don't know what's quieter than silence. Just there's some people who just like I always thought like everyone had like a funny bone in them, no matter who they
Right.
are. And then I saw a couple comics. I'm like, that person has zero talent.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've never seen that before. But no, I think my first set went well. Your first set went well, right?
I think that's I think that's kind of a lot of comedians have that experience where their first set is always like better than their second to 10th sets. You know what I'm saying? Or like
their
around.
friends are there. I feel
Yeah.
like tends to be your like couple friends came out to see your set.
Yeah, and so they supportive room. Plus, they usually say, "This is my first time,"
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "All right, well, I'll give them a break," you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have like a lot of bias towards yourself, so you think like there's a lot of times where like when I started out thinking I did really well, and then it's like you look back on those tapes and you're like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't kill it as hard as I thought I did. There was only 2 people laughing at that joke. That was not the applause break I envisioned in my head.
I don't understand these people. Like, I get how you see a video of yourself and you're like, oh, especially if you've only done it for a while, you're like, I did well. And you're like, you didn't objectively, but like for you, that wasn't a bomb. But these people, you see, they post, they have whatever set, they're like, this is me killing it. And it's like, you're not killing it.
No, you're not.
You're not killing it. But even if you are, like, it's a shitty tape, you know, it's like filmed wrong. And like, I don't know why people post that shit on Facebook all the time.
Well, it's because like they're so enthused about, whoa, I'm a comedian now. Check this out, everyone.
A guy does 2 open mics, changes his bio on every social media.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Makes his own fan page. What's all the other shit I see them do?
Merch podcast.
Merch podcast.
Yeah.
Listen, we were a few years into this before we started the podcast. So
That's true.
we had that
That's
going for
true.
us.
How
Yeah.
long were you thinking about starting a podcast, Sean, after you started doing comedy?
I
what was-
always thought about starting a podcast before comedy.
Okay, that's.
I've
that's
always just
fair.
been. I'm just a boring white guy. I like
Yeah,
podcasts.
I don't think I ever really got
Yeah.
into podcasts till like kind of recently.
No, I
So
got into
never had
podcast. I got
that.
into podcast pretty early, like 09. Like I used to listen to.
Dude, you were a fucking podcast hipster.
Yeah, I
You were
were
like,
I a little bit. I used to listen to podcasts and play
Uh-huh.
video games alone in my rooms on Friday nights because I didn't have any friends.
that sounds relaxing.
Just end the podcast on that.
That sounds relaxing.
It actually is quite nice. I used to play Skyrim to these video game podcasts. It was just great.
That sounds
Like,
relaxing as shit. I wish I could just do that and not feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
Being like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I enjoy my alone,
No,
my
I
alone time.
Sean, I respect that a lot. Like,
Thank
I
you.
respect that a lot. You know,
Is it worse that we're getting along now? We prefer us fighting.
Yeah. No, it's weird because you keep being like, I respect that, but then you say like, man, if that were me though, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm wasting my life. I'm such a loser.
Well, no, I
respect
respect.
it,
I
though.
respect
Yeah.
the fact that no, it's like I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
like I don't want to shame someone for doing that, but like I know if I did
I-
it personally, I'd feel self conscious about how other people would view that. If that makes sense.
If they
you know what I'm
found
saying?
out that
yeah. So,
I mean, I was also like 15 at the time, so like,
yeah, it's fucking whatever.
I didn't go
You're
out
not a real
drinking.
person.
I didn't go out smoking pot.
When was your first drink, Sean? We'll get into
What
that.
was my first drink?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think it was like 17.
What was your first drink, Brian?
When was it? I don't
Yeah.
know. I remember trying some liquor in my parents' cabinet and it wasn't good. So I have no idea. 12?
When was the first time you like drank with the friends or at a party?
I don't know. I honestly,
It was a good night then.
I remember it was beer. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was drinking. I was like, I'll stick to only beer and then only Jack Daniels. And now it's like I only drink clear drinks on Fridays. And I drink dark drinks on Saturdays. That's my new motto.
I was 18 when I took my first. It's funny. I was 18 when I went to like my first party in high school. So like, you know, the tail end of high school. And it was funny because like I just assumed people would give me alcohol for no reason. So I'd go up to a bunch of it was really embarrassing. I'd go up to a bunch of people who were like holding like canister, like, you know, giant boxes of beer, being like, "Hey, can I have one?" And they're like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, never mind.
All the pressures of peer pressuring don't happen in high school. It happens when you're an adult. On Halloween, I smoked some cigarettes because I wanted to seem cool in front of other comedians. I'm like, I'm doing it too, right, guys?
No, I'm not gonna succumb to that. Like smoking with comedians, I don't feel like I need to do that.
Yeah.
No, that's how you get ahead, though. So I would do it.
Yeah, that was my reason behind it. Is like I want to talk to some topper. There was some like Francis Ellis was outside stand up New York, and I'm like, I kind of want to talk to him for a minute. So I was like, hey, can I borrow a cigarette? I said it just like that too, and he's like, get out of here, you piece of shit.
Yeah, for the exact same reason you described. I don't smoke cigarettes, so the idea of I would look so fake next to them. I'd be like, this is clearly false.
Right. We should patent that idea next, like the fake cigarettes for
fake cigarettes.
2 mic minimum product, fake cigarettes for
we'll
comedians.
sell fake
too.
cigarettes to teach comedians how to smoke outside.
Yeah.
To get peer pressured into talking to better comedians.
Well, no,
No,
so
okay,
like
that's
when you bum a
perfect.
cigarette off a comedian, be like, oh, okay, cool, and then you like swap it out for like a fake cigarette,
Oh,
and then
yeah,
you
no, both could work.
you know it's flavored.
You
It's
got to
like,
use sleight of hand for this?
yeah, no, it's like
Yeah,
flavored.
we have magic tricks
there's like
going on.
there's like bubblegum strawberry, you know. It's not it's
Now
not bad for
you're-
your lungs.
You're literally just describing a vape pen now. Yeah,
That's also not good for you.
partying.
Yeah, I'm such a loser comedian because I actually care about my lungs. So I'm not gonna.
You weren't a
get
loser
on-
until you said it that way.
I wish I was like you, and
No,
I
it was
wouldn't
like
feel
Bryan-
like a loser blowing my lungs out all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
No,
But, like,
it's-
we describe
do
this
what you
podcast
want,
as like Peter is like.
I do comedy on my own
What,
terms.
what do we have? What do we have? Description of us. You're like
Yeah.
you're like a hall monitor, and I'm his bully.
Oh, okay.
That's
No, I think
that's
it's
pretty
just
fair.
I'm just a guy who gets bullied, and you're my bully.
yeah.
Like I think that's how it is.
no, I think a hall monitor
like,
thing is more.
like this podcast is like if the guy who was bullied and the bully started a podcast.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
after they
also
grew up.
also an actual good idea for a podcast.
Yeah. Now they're friends, but there's still a little bit of resentment between the two
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just doing it
It's
because
it's more than a little.
yeah, they're just doing it because their comedic dynamic is really strong. But
Yeah.
they're like, I fucking, you know, one,
This guy. This guy.
this guy. What time are we at? We're at 53 minutes, so we can start to wrap up a
You
little
do the
bit.
mics at the creek?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back to them more.
Okay. We Stacy and my girlfriend and I, we run a mic on Tuesdays. If you I'm
What time?
promoting that. 8:30
Hey,
Tuesdays.
I'll come by this. Come
100
down. Come
kitty
by this
open mic.
Tuesday.
How is that, Mike? Tell us about that.
It's good. I mean, I think it's a good mic at the creek. It's fun. We try to be positive the whole time through. Like
That's
you know,
good. 'Cause I feel like
You're not,
you go to a lot of
you're not the guy midway through who's like,
I-
all right, you're up.
every creek mic I go to is that guy. The one
Yeah.
you just described. It's just like
There's a British comedian who I saw quit midway through a mic. Like he was
Quit
hosting it,
comedy.
and he just, I'm done. He just
I'm back
walked
to the
out.
UK.
He walked out, handed it to someone else. I'm like, wow, that's that makes sense.
I mean, there's definitely shitty people everywhere you go.
Oh,
in
yeah.
any mic. But
Yeah.
we
But-
cap the mic too, which I think a lot of creek mics are just like, yeah, sign up for infinity, and then mic will never stop. It'll be one continuous 24-hour mic.
Yeah,
But we
you'll
just,
get 10
cap it.
seconds.
I can't maintain this amount of attention and enthusiasm for more than 2 hours. Like
Yeah.
that's the max I can do this for.
right. So, but that's good that you try to like keep the mic going with like this positive spin. I think that's
We
like a
try.
very-
I mean-
you try.
Yeah.
But I imagine it must be hard. But
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
but
Other than
the effort is good.
Yeah, the effort's everything. It's are we getting cooked alive? Is that noise?
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
like,
actually,
are we like in a giant lobster pot? And
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
lobsters.
yeah. We're being murdered right now to be eaten by extraterrestrial
well, it's
beings.
good, well,
I'm
good thing,
down
good thing
with
I
it.
can't feel it at all. You know,
What a way to go!
They were interested in your lungs because they're very shiny and new. So
Right, right,
they-
right.
Yeah,
No, it's pristine.
I'm like the piece of meat they like give
Yeah.
to the dogs afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
we overcooked it. Shit.
hey, I might not have a lot of comedy connections, but my lungs would go for a lot on the black market. So
yeah.
there's there's that.
wow.
Actually, going back to the creek,
There's
I
a
should,
lot of
Weird flex.
organs we could probably sell off of you. I feel like you got to go to pancreas in there too.
I don't want to get any sickos to get any ideas to be like
Listen, if you want to buy some of Peter's organs, slide into my DMs.
Aaron's gonna cut me out for my pancreas.
There, yeah, I can get a lot
Because
of
she's
that.
diabetic. Actually, going back to the creek, I just want to mention this because I failed to mention it last time. My notebook was found at the creek. 'Cause
Oh, that's right.
I lost a notebook at the creek when I did a show there,
Oh,
and
cool.
it was missing.
You lost
for-
it. You lost it like August, didn't you? And then you
No,
found it.
September, and then someone finally. I got a text from someone who worked there saying it was found by someone who actually, like, when I went there to go try to find it, she was like actively helping me search through their messy office. Like, they have such a messy office. There's just a bunch of notebooks on the desk, and they're like, are any of these yours? I'm looking through it. I'm like, no. But after I left, I was like thinking, like, that notebook must be somewhere in that office, because it's like there's a lot of clutter just everywhere in that building.
Yeah.
Which adds to the aesthetic, I guess. But yeah, no, I finally got my notebook, so I'm feeling blessed. Would you feel like Madison's sort of like a drain towards other cities? Like, do you, like, a lot of comedians like kind of just eventually leave that area?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. I think some people stay there for a long time.
Oh yeah, we should ask this. Why'd you leave?
I mean, at some point you're like, I can't do more here as far for my career. Like, I was very comfortable there. I enjoyed working the clubs around. There's other clubs in Wisconsin, around there. But at some point, it's like I can't get any farther in my career. Can't really learn much more until I go watch comedy like every night. You know.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you don't want to be the big fish in a small pond, but like, I think that's kind of the advantage of people who start off in smaller scenes compared to New York. Because if you're starting off in New York, there's just all these fucking comics here you have to compete with. But when you're in a place like Madison, as you described, like there's a mic where it feels like a show, which is so beneficial to the development of a comic. So you really get that development, which honestly is something you would be deprived of if you started in New York.
Exactly.
So the fact that that club exists is really cool, and if we're in the area, we'll definitely want to check it out.
You have to.
I really want to go on a fucking tour and do more of the country.
Yeah,
I mean, I've done 4 states now, 5, whatever.
Yeah.
But
if you're ever in Wisconsin, you should do that, Mike. And you mentioned that's your first time there. You're from out of town.
If you're from Wisconsin and
when we say from New York, they'll think
fly us out there. First class only. I don't do coach. Put me up for like, I don't know, 4-night stay. I'll do 1 mic and then I'll go home.
Okay.
The 1 mic tour.
1 mic tour.
2 mic minimum, 1 mic tour, Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you guys for coming to my house.
Thank you. No, this is a lovely house, by the way. I don't know we didn't mention that. I'm just looking at the decorations.
When was this place built?
I have no idea.
We were talking about that outside.
There's crown molding, so that I think indicates some time period.
I'd say that's at least 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got about 60s layers of paint, right? There's so many. Like, there's just like nails and stuff painted over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, back in the day, like, fuck, we don't have codes. Like, you have 4 walls.
All lead.
You have 4 walls in the ceiling. What more do you want?
Yes. Don't lick the walls.
One outlet.
Listen, lead's good for your water. Gives it flavor.
Yeah.
But anyway, where can people find you on social media and stuff?
You can find me on Facebook, Bryan Morris with a Y, Bryan Morris. I'm also on Twitter, BMoFunny, and also on Instagram, BMoFunny.
BMoFunny.
I like that handle.
I like that. That's good.
All
That's
our guests
a fun
have
one.
had great handles, and I really like it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, we're done. You can follow me at BigBarry63 on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's all I have coming
Follow
up.
me on Twitter and Instagram. Type in my full name, or you can type in Clark Deutsch P on Twitter or Peter Clark _Deutsch on Instagram.
I think you need to change your name. Just your real life name.
No longer the woke boy anymore.
No longer the woke boy.
Retired that handle. So
Can I buy that handle? I
go for it.
It's got legs, man.
I'd sell that. We should have patented it and sold T-shirts.
Throwing a lung, I can give you a lot of money.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about his lungs later. We'll talk about it off mic.
Yeah.
We'll talk about our cigarettes that we'll definitely patent and put on market too.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all right, guys. This was an episode of 2 Mic Minimum.
Take care.
Bye.